Hello and welcome to Keep Middlesex Moving's Mobility Matters podcast. I am Arlene Holt, and today I am joined by our Executive Director, Brian Tobin. Hi, Brian.
Hello.
And we have two new team members over at KMM, so we'd just like to introduce each of you and have our listeners learn a little bit more about your background, where you came from, your interests, and the kinds of projects that you're working on here at KMM. So with that, I'd like to first start off with Izzy Gonzalez. Hi, Izzy.
Hi, everyone. My name's Izzy Gonzalez. I'm the Safe Routes to School coordinator. I grew up in North Brunswick. I am a local for years and years and years. I was very involved in the local music scene. I enjoy hiking and finding nature trails around town. I'm very involved in my community, mostly with community aid, donation drives, and local groups like that. I also have 3 cats, which we all know how Brian feels about that.
But, recorded in forever and posterity. Yes.
Yes, correct. I am also a graduate of Hofstra University, 2020 psychology degree, and my background is primarily in healthcare and office management, as well as training assistance. But when I found KMM, it unlocked something within traffic safety for me and just gave me a nice opportunity to empower young people with the right tools to be safer when they're outside. So some of the stuff that I'm currently working on within the Safe Routes program is I really want to focus on getting the Safe Routes program more out there on social media. So I've been collaborating with Arlene on our Instagram to kind of get different things out there. And we also have an electronic magazine that we've been putting out quarterly for the Safe Routes programs. Be on a lookout for that. And that is available where, Arlene?
The magazine is located on our website under Media Library. So there is a link for newsletters, and we are currently updating that information with other past newsletters.
Awesome. Thank you. So yes, if you would like to take a look at our electronic magazine, it's available on our website. I'm currently working with a bunch of local schools as well to set up our bike rodeos for the summer and get those all set up, get community days set up. We're working with local schools to make the programs more collaborative for kids, get the kids more empowered and involved in the education, especially around their schools, pass the message along to their peers, their parents, and especially focusing in communities where we have a very high bike and walk to school population, a lot of local cities, focusing on the community aspects there and just kind of tapping into the community partnership and the feelings of community in neighborhoods like New Brunswick, Perth Amboy, and other local places around Middlesex.
Yeah, we have a lot going on Safe Routes to School, but before we jump further into our discussion, I would like to bring Connor Wallace in, introduce Connor as our new program coordinator at KMM. Hi, Connor.
Hey there, Arlene. Thanks for having me, everybody, not just on this podcast, but on your team in general. Happy to be here. My name's Connor Wallace. I'm the newest employee here at Keep Middlesex Moving. I'm a local Middlesex County person, just like Izzy as well. I actually went to college right around the corner from the Keep Middlesex Moving HQ, the Blaustein School for planning and public policy. A lot of the students there were in the program because they were primarily interested in transportation. For me, that wasn't necessarily the case, but definitely have always been interested in transportation issues. I focused more on housing and economic development. Actually wound up kind of getting into tourism planning. Tourism and economic development, as well as the nonprofit sphere, is kind of where I've been after graduating Rutgers until being here. As Arlene mentioned, I'm our newest program coordinator here. So we're working in a lot of different things, but it seems like a big part of my role is going to be engaging employers. Like Izzy has Safe Routes to School. We're focusing a little bit more on people's daily commute to their workplace. Right now, the most immediate project that we have coming up under my umbrella is the NJ Smart Workplace Awards. So this is just an opportunity to recognize some employers that go out of their way to make great options available to their employees in the terms of affordability, accessibility, and most importantly, safety, kind of transforming how we view how we get to and from work. We're hoping to not only recognize these employers, but get some more employers on the bandwagon of thinking about these transportation solutions and ultimately encouraging people through these awards, incentivizing them to do more and more to contribute as best as they can to get congestion off of our roads and everybody doing their part. So I'm excited to engage with some of the employers here in Middlesex County and beyond.
Connor and Izzy, you both have been here I mean, Izzy, you came on in December, and Connor, you're, like you said before, you're one of our newest employees. But I feel like both of you have just jumped in and just taken ownership of the program. I feel like you've been around, you're very seasoned employees, and you're just doing great things already. Brian, do you want to talk about some of the projects that we're working on, either through Safe Routes to School or employer engagement?
Sure, yeah, sounds great. I want to echo the sentiments that even though I've only known these two individuals for a short period of time, I'm already excited about the work that they're doing. Their enthusiasm for working at Keep Middlesex Moving is infectious. We've had some meetings with other individuals just in the short period of time that you've all been here. I'm already hearing great things from just my random conversations with other people. So I know it's our podcast and we're promoting ourselves and we're saying a lot of positive things. For everybody that knows me, I only say things when I mean them. So I really appreciate you two starting here. I'm also really excited at how quickly we've just jumped in with the schools. And I know that Chris has did a lot of great work with our Safe Routes to School program for so long, but it's really wonderful to get all these meeting invites from you, Izzy, with all the bike rodeos and all the schools, and hearing friends who are paying attention to our social media and are excited about your new zine and excited about the bike rodeos and all the things that we're participating in. I know you've worked a lot with the schools and that's coming up in the fall. Would you like to talk a little bit about some of the bike rodeos more specifically and some of the towns that we're coordinating with?
Yeah, absolutely. If anybody's not familiar with what a bike rodeo is, typically what it is, a township will contact us and we'll help organize and streamline processes to getting a local community event set up. And what that event is focused on is bike safety. And there's a skills course that's set up. There's report cards that kind of go out for the students, and they all learn different bike skills while also participating in like a field day style type of day. And depending on the township, they either make it a food truck festival or a community day. So for example, we have a few coming up. We have one coming up in South Brunswick. There's going to be a few vendors there, and all these locations and dates will be posted on our social medias and our website, and a lot of local calendars coming up. So make sure that you're keeping an eye out for those. But the ones we have coming up, some of them are South Brunswick, and they're going to be doing a lot of local vendors. So helmet fittings, bike safety checks, checking the handlebars on your bikes. Brain Injury Alliance is going to be there, as well as the local bike exchange. And then we have one really exciting new partnership with the local farmers market in Sayreville. A lovely gentleman there is helping us set up a food truck festival through the farmers market. So I believe that's in June, and that's going to be a huge town event. There's flyers going out. The local community is super excited about it. The farmers market is going to be staying open 2 hours late to accommodate the bike rodeo. And a lot of local, very popular food vendors are going to be opening up their trucks. So a lot of towns have the opportunities to do things like that, as well as we have a shortened education session that's set up for all of the people in attendance prior to the field day kind of style games. So typically when people come in, they'll get some basic information about bike safety, and then they'll go into these fun games and explore all the vendors and network and get to know their community. So I'm very excited for all the ones we have coming up. There's going to be about, I believe, 15 coming up. So lots to do. Check your town. There will probably be a bike rodeo there. And we look forward to everybody coming out and joining.
If there's not a bike rodeo, please call us and we will help make it happen. Those are like the fun events that everybody looks forward to.
Just listen to the enthusiasm we all have for this. I mean, a lot of things that Izzy was talking about and make Keep Middlesex Moving wonderful is that we're reaching out and trying to get ourselves into new community spaces. So she mentioned farmers markets, and we know that there's a whole bunch in town. And aside from having a bike rodeo at a farmers market, I know Connor's leading an effort to make sure that we are showing ourselves and having a table and showing the community our different options. So Connor, I've completely stepped on what you're going to be doing, but you want to talk about that a little bit?
I think the most important thing with Keep Middlesex Moving's mission is public outreach and education. So it's super important that we're very visible. The resources that we have available to help individuals with their transportation issues, not everybody needs them all the time, but what we want to do is be visible and omnipresent in the community so that if you, as an individual, a school, an employer, have some sort of transportation issue, you think of us immediately as somebody who can call and either help you or point you in the right direction for those resources. One of the spaces or platforms that we're going to be getting into is the farmers markets. And I just have to say a big respect to Izzy on 15 bike rodeos, because I know how hard organizing those things can be. It doesn't really seem like it, but it's just a lot of time and effort. Where we're lucky is that it is for the kids, it's for safety, something that people are received pretty positively, but it's still a lot of work to get those things done with these farmers markets and other community events, of getting in there, because the organizers want us there. They want this information to be available. We're not selling anything to anybody. We just want everybody to know what resources they have available to them. And public outreach and education is super important for that.
Being out there in front of everybody is just so important, as Connor said. So you're going to see a lot more of us in the next few months as the weather is warming up. We've already signed ourselves up for Rutgers Day. As a Rutgers student, I love College Avenue, but I will say we're going to be on the fun campus, which is Cook. Make sure you come out and pet some goats and ride some horses and come out and see us at a table. We're also excited to be joining Middlesex County at Discover Middlesex, which is like sometime in June, and it's going to be held at Roosevelt Park. So come out and say hi to us there. But to backtrack just a little bit, we had some great meetings with some local businesses who are looking to get into some volunteer opportunities with our organization. We're investigating that way, and we're going to make sure that we're offering opportunities to help Izzy and help our other staff and team members make sure that the events that we put together are done with the community. And if your organization wants to get out and help us and volunteer at our events, we highly encourage it. That's my getting off my, that's me getting off my little, like, promoting everything that we're doing in this one level.
That's a really good point, Brian, because KMM is staff-wise, we're a really small organization. And oftentimes people will ask us to do events and we just don't have the staff capacity for it. So a lot of these projects that we take on, especially on the Safe Routes to School end of it, it's run by one person, Izzy. In the past, it was Chris. But yeah, so a lot of the work that we're doing, I always use that Bugs Bunny analogy. And now you and Connor and Izzy now understand that we're everywhere all at once. If an organization wants to participate or individual wants to volunteer, by all means, reach out and we'll find a spot for you. Definitely. Connor, one of the questions, so Izzy she just jumped in and she's not afraid to own it. She's definitely a cat person, but how about you?
You know what? I grew up being pretty scared of cats. I was a scaredy cat of cats. My one grandma notoriously hated cats. And then my other one had 3 cats that hated me as a kid. So I was like, I'm still a bit skittish around cats, but my brother now has a cat named Braveheart, who I've grown very close to. So I do like cats. I might prefer dogs, but I like them both.
That is such a politically correct answer.
It's just the truth. It's just the truth. If I'm being honest, I'd rather have a fish or a turtle or a bird.
More self-sufficient.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you get a parrot, it's nice to have somebody to talk to.
Just somehow quietly making a case for a cat, right, Izzy? Take a hard left turn here. I want to just talk to you about a couple things. Some things that are a little bit out of your scopes. I brought you all to a meeting to meet with some individuals who have difficulty with some of the fixed routes and transportation. And we met with Senator Diagnan at that event. More things are going to come out of it. Let me know a couple of your thoughts about that meeting. You don't have to talk specifics about the people, but just how did it open up your eyes to the world of transportation and what we're doing here at Keep Middlesex Moving?
I think some of what we heard was like the disparities in transport or transportation that should be open to everybody. Locally, especially in New Jersey, that's what we're known for. We're known for our transportation. And it's just really disheartening to hear the lack of empathy and the lack of dignity that disabled people are receiving when it comes to accessing that transportation that everybody in New Jersey should have. I mean, everybody everywhere should have access to. But it was just really interesting to hear all the different perspectives, firsthand encounters about how horrible it can be. And it just really drives home the point of really needing to focus on the empathy and the training aspect, because that all comes together. And just really making sure that disabled people are given the dignity and the ability to live their daily lives just like everybody else. It was very, very interesting to hear all the things and the lack of training that were provided and all the opportunities that we have as a community and as an organization to help streamline those processes and make them better and make it more accessible for everybody.
I totally agree. I think all of us after that meeting were a little bit inspired. It kind of drives home why it's important to have organizations like Keep Middlesex Moving to find these gaps. I definitely felt a little bit angry, I guess, hearing about some of these stories and just how difficult it is to get from A to B for some people in the county, in the state, in the country. I think it's great that people in power take the time out to sit down and listen to these things, but there's a lot of work to be done. Certainly, there are some examples around the world of places that really make an actual commitment to making transportation accessible, not just checking the box and saying like, yes, we comply, but actually making this genuine effort to like, no, what's the daily life going to be like for some people trying to use these transportation systems? So there's a lot of work to be done. I'm happy to be a part of it in a small way.
Connor, you really brought it home when you said it was somewhat angering to see the disparities between people who are physically able to get on a bus and the things that you don't even think about, right? Like somebody that we were with has mobility issues. And so just walking up the hill to get to the bus was extremely difficult for that person. And when you don't have any limitations and you're capable of walking fine and you don't think about it, it never dawns on you until you're with somebody who actually cannot make it 2 blocks to a bus stop. So part of the work that we do here at KMM is to educate the public and to promote accessible transportation for everyone. So it was really eye-opening to just be in that space and understand the needs of many of our constituents, because these are people that work and live in Middlesex County and they just want the dignity to be able to live their daily lives. Thankfully, Brian, this is something that is very near and dear to your heart. And so we will be doing a lot. He's smiling, he has a big grin on his face. This is something that is really important. And we hope to work more with communities of people who really need our assistance to make sure that transportation is accessible and available to everyone who wants to use it.
Yeah, if a TMA can't do it, I'm not sure who else can. So I'm really glad that we're all working on this stuff.
But we do have a lot of cool programs coming up in the next couple of months. We have some pilot programs that we will be partnering with other schools and communities. So we have a lot going on here at KMM. I don't want to jump the gun and talk about them just now because they're really still in the works as far as getting them out and pushing them through. But one of the things that I do want to remind everyone is to connect with us on social media. And if you haven't registered for our newsletter, please do so because all of that information will be out publicly. And yes, you will see a lot more of us in the next couple of months. Hopefully you don't get tired of seeing us. Hopefully it's a avenue to welcoming us and into other spaces that we have previously not been part of. Any other thoughts, Izzy, Connor?
I did actually want to add when we were talking about the meeting we had with ACI, I think it goes a little bit beyond like the physical challenges, discomfort, and it's super emotionally taxing. Something that I think everybody can understand is that it takes a lot of time, not just for people represented by ACI, but everybody, transportation. If you want to live independently, having a grocery store trip take 4 hours out of your day kind of throws a big wrench in that. So I just wanted to add that I thought it was super important. It's almost like a math problem with transportation. It's just we have to find the most efficient way to let people live their lives.
Yeah, and it's not just even the people living with disabilities, but it's people who just do not have access to cars. So
Yes.
that is one of the reasons why we are such big advocates for transit and for alternate and sustainable commute modes, because not everybody has access to a vehicle, either by choice or just by financial means. Owning a car is extremely expensive, and living in New Jersey is extremely expensive. So if we can bridge that gap and make it easier for people to just live their daily lives, go to work, go to school, run their errands, get to medical appointments, I mean, it's a win for all of us. So that's always a priority for us here at KMM.
Yeah, well said. In this very famous podcast, which is known for its visual effects, I'm smiling hugely. So this was both literally and figuratively.
Yeah, lots of changes are happening at KMM, but we are really excited for the future, and we are so happy to have you, Connor and Izzy, along for the ride. I know that together we will be doing great things. I'm really just looking forward to this coming year and the projects that we are working on, seeing them come to fruition and making more connections with our community and with individuals and the people who really need our help. So thank you so much for joining us, for being part of our team. For those of you that are listening, let's watch out for us because we're coming, we're going to be ruling Middlesex County. Any final thoughts?
Thanks, team. Looking forward to this.
Thank you both for having me.
Thank you for having me, guys.
It's an honor.
Thank you to all our listeners for tuning in. You can find our podcast on our iHeartRadio, Spotify, now on YouTube, all your favorite podcast services. Thank you, and until next time, take care.
This ad is disseminated under the sponsorship of NJTPA and FHWA in the interest of information exchange.